Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we're coming to you from the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island, and that's because this is the site of the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce's annual policy conference. And talk about policy, and look who pops up. Head policy maker in the national capital for us for how many years? I mean,
well, I went into the U.S. House in 1997. I went into the U.S. Senate in 2001. So,
wow.
So it'll be 28 years.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Not counting the state, by the way. So,
no.
Yeah.
And way back to county
I
commissioner.
know, county commissioner.
Like that, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I failed to announce that our guest is U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow. Debbie, let's talk a little bit, because you know, we were just talking off air. It's kind of an unwinding state
It
for you. That many years and things archived, and and everybody wants me to ask you what's next. And you had a great answer for that.
Well, I first of all, I'm running through the tape, and secondly, I'm not allowed under the ethics rules to even talk to anybody about next. I can tell you this: I'm staying in Michigan. I've lived here my whole life. I can't imagine being anywhere else. I'm not interested in a full-time job. I want to still, contribute and participate in things, but not. I've had people, suggest full-time jobs, and I've said no. If I wanted a full-time job, I'd stay in the U.S. Senate. So so this is something that I'm ready to make a turn. And by the way, my mom's almost 98 and doing well, but I want more. These are precious times with her and my 5 grandkids. So it's time to pass the torch.
Your mom is a trooper. I think I've seen you at every one of your events.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
I look at her and I go, I have good genes.
No kidding. So you better think about this.
I know. That's right.
Well,
That's right.
You've done a million things, but one of the things I want to ask you most about is your work with the Farm Bill year after year after year, and what you've done for the agricultural industry in the state of Michigan.
What's interesting when I think back about it, and this is the 6th Farm Bill I've been involved in, the 3rd one I'm leading. So we're trying to get a 5-year Farm Bill done this year. But when I came into the Senate, every part of agriculture was covered under what we call the Farm Bill, which is all the policy and the funding, except fruits and vegetables. Now, if you look around Michigan, what do we grow? Fruits and vegetables. And so almost half the cash receipts of agriculture were not included in the Farm Bill. And so I spent years, finally got a new, what they call title of the Farm Bill. And fruits and vegetables are now supported. Research, marketing, we do a lot with organics. We do a lot. And I've also broadened out the Farm Bill used to be mainly for the South, for the big growers. And it was mainly cotton, rice, peanuts, or livestock, and so on. And so now it covers everything in the country, and it covers everything in Michigan, and it covers small farms. We've expanded to urban farms. So you see small farms in Detroit or whatever, who people grow things, then they go to Eastern Market and sell, and then they get customers. And if they get enough customers, then they get a storefront. And so we're creating more small businesses. So the idea of leveraging a food economy is something that I've led, and we're creating more jobs. And we also are recognizing the strength of Michigan.
So we only have 6 minutes, and I've got 2 hours worth of things I want to ask you about. Yeah. One of the things that has really been noteworthy is how you have opened the doors for women.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that. You've got to be proud of it.
I am. When I came into the State House, there were 8 women, none in the State Senate, none statewide, none national. And so you fast forward now, we've got our 2nd woman governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, first woman leading the State Senate in Winnie Brinks. And so, and it makes a difference. It's not just symbolic. If you want a democracy to work, you have to have everybody's ideas and experiences at the table. Everybody's.
Yeah.
When I came into the State House, the speaker was talking about women's issues. They had a committee called Constitutional Revisions and Women's Rights Committee, and they wanted all the women on that committee and nothing else. And I said, every issue is a woman's issue. We pay taxes, we start businesses, we care about healthcare, we care about agriculture, and so I refused to sit on that committee. And shortly after that, they dissolved the committee. But we are better if everybody's participating.
So let's talk a little bit about global positioning Michigan and our country. Because there's a lot of worry
Hmm.
about international. How you feel our status is?
Well, it's a complicated situation. I mean, as you know, around the world, it's a complicated situation. Um, I think what's being now to bringing supply chains home is really important for us. If we learned anything from COVID, you can't depend on something like little microchips overseas and not make them here when they're in every product we need, right? And so, um, in positioning, we want. I always tell people we want to export our products, not our jobs. And for too long, we were okay with doing it, exporting our jobs, basically.
Yeah.
And so now that's turned around. President Biden's honestly done more than anyone I have seen in saying we're going to redirect, whether it's chips or whether it's bringing other kinds of manufacturing back. We're going to do production tax credits so you don't get the tax credit unless you make it in America, which is really significant. So we need those international relationships and we need to trade and but the truth is, I remember in the 90s when GM first went into China, you couldn't just go in. You had to give a majority ownership to the Chinese government, majority ownership, and turn over all your IP, all your intellectual property. So we wonder now how they got all that. I mean, so level playing field is important. And so that's the job of our federal government is to say, yeah, we want markets, we want relationships, but got to be a level playing field. And you don't get to take all of our intellectual property, for free,
Right.
And then leave us in a situation where we can't compete because you didn't have to pay for it.
They've leveraged it. Debbie, it occurs to me, this is probably our last policy conference with you as a U.S. Senator.
It is.
I have to tell you how much, honestly, I'm thankful for your leadership, what you've done for the state of Michigan, and I cherish our friendship.
And I as well. And watching everything you have done over the years, small business and economic development, everything is wonderful.
It was the perfect career for a guy who couldn't get a job. Really,
Well, you've done well.
Well, yeah. U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow, and we're coming to you from the policy conference on Mackinac Island put on by the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce. Again, Debbie, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be right back on the Michigan Business Network.